I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and he told me that he thinks I should have a YouTube channel with some of the stuff that I do. Thinks it'd be cool to put on the internet, and I can't disagree with him. And so I got to thinking about it and remembered that I have this YouTube channel here that I've not touched in going up on 2 years now. So I figured I might as well start making videos on it again and see what happens with it, I guess. Here on the right, we got a small block 305. Came out of an 86 Caprice. I'll get more details to you on that here in a minute. And then on the left of that, we got a small block 305 that came out of a 91 C1500. That truck's got 209,300-ish miles on it, and as far as I can tell, this is the original engine, so inevitably it's developed a rod knock within the first 7 days of my ownership. And as such, I went ahead and pulled it out yesterday, and we're going to be putting this one back in there. I'm going to go ahead and put a video clip in here of the rod knock that's going on with this engine and give you an idea of just how bad it was. So as you've seen there, that 305 is pretty well done for as it sits. My plan for that engine is to eventually go through and refresh it. I'm not going to say rebuilding it, because rebuilding implies I'm going through and decking the block and checking for cracks and shit like that I'm definitely not going to do. I'm just going to go through and put new wear parts, new bearings, new rings, shit like that in it and call it a day. And then have that for an engine to put back in this thing whenever this here 305 goes out. Give you a little bit of backstory on this 305 here. So what you're looking at is the long block of a standard 1980s quadrajet 305 that came out of a 1986 Caprice, from what I'm told. When I got it, it was very quickly made apparent to me that the previous owner of this shit did not give a fuck about engine maintenance. Had about carbon maybe that thick in places throughout the whole valve train. Had 7 or 8 bent push rods, and the oil was blacker than a coal miner's taint. So all that together adds up to the perfect engine that you're going to want to put in your daily driven vehicle here in about 2 hours or so. We got side bolt valve covers with a TBI intake. What gives? Is it a special part? Certainly not. I don't have money for special parts. What this is a standard cast aluminum TBI intake. Came off of a 89 305 or something like that. And I just went ahead and took a drill and a Dremel and had my way with the center holes on the intake here, and made them so that it's basically the same thing as a standard pre-1987 intake for a small block Chevy. As such, it fits now a standard pre-1987 small block Chevy. You're probably asking, well, why wouldn't you just put a set of TBI heads on the short block of this here 305 and run it like that? Well, the reason that I can't do that is because I don't have a set of head gaskets for a small block Chevy sitting on my shelf anywhere. I had a set of intake manifold gaskets, but no head gaskets. And I can't really swap heads without head gaskets. And there would have been no way I could have got a set of head gaskets here in time to get this thing going by this afternoon, considering that it went down Friday and it is now Sunday morning and I'm working on putting the new engine in. There would have been no way I could have got head gaskets here in time for this thing to, get new heads on it. So I just figured I'd modify a TBI intake and use the intake manifold gaskets that I got sitting on the shelf already and just hillbilly shit together and make it work. And that's just about what I did, and it looks like it's holding together so far, so I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. I suppose without further ado, I ought to start moving some engines around, so I'm going to get to doing that here now. Well, the Caprice 305 is sitting in frame now. It's sitting at a bit of a weird angle just because there's no transmission hooked up to it, holding it in place as it is. So that's about what I'm going to go do now, is work on getting that transmission set up in there how it should be. Well, I was finally able to get the transmission put up in there. It was being quite the bitch trying to get it on the jack there for a good while, but I got it eventually. I'm going to work on getting a water pump on the front of this and all the other accessories, and we'll go from there. Well, I got a water pump and a crank pulley on the front of the engine now, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my phone here to help me try and get this engine in time. I gotta turn the oil pump by just a little bit, so if I stick my phone right about here, and then if I can get this screwdriver down in there, I can see what I'm doing to an extent. So let me zoom in on it here so y'all can see it too. That's what we're working with, and we need it to be right about here. Yep, right about there. And that's how you do it, boys and girls. And that is how you adjust an oil pump. Long ass flat blade. Works every time. So what I've gone ahead and done here is taken the valve covers off, and I'm going to go ahead and dump some diesel down the heads and let that trickle down, and hopefully take any of the carbon that I accidentally let go down into the oil pan and scoop that up, and then I'll drain it all out the bottom, and hopefully that'll help flush everything through and get all the last bits of carbon deposit and dirt and dust and whatever else is hanging around in the engine that doesn't need to be there, and get it out of there, you know. So that is the plan here. Well, I went ahead and cycled that diesel through the heads and let it drain out the bottom, and got a little bit of gunk out of there with it that I could see, so I'm happy about that. And I can confidently say that the entire barn smells like diesel now, which is glorious. But in any case, while the diesel was draining, I went ahead and got the throttle body put on there, and about 75% of the wiring harness hooked up, so we're doing good on that regard. I still got to get a couple of miscellaneous sensors and, well, obviously the front accessories hooked up to wiring and just put in there in general. So yeah, and then after that I need an exhaust put on it, distributor, plugs, wires, and everything in between. And even after that, I'm probably still going to wait an hour or two, because what's holding the water pump seal together right now is RTV and used gaskets. And, well, I would like the RTV to at least kind of cure before I go and start sending temperature and liquid through it. So we're going to wait a little bit on that, and then after a while we'll go ahead and see if it doesn't fire up and see what I gotta fix to make this thing run and drive correctly. So we will see. I went ahead and got my set of shorty headers thrown on here now. I know that shorty headers don't provide any real benefit whatsoever for the engine, but that's the only set of manifolds, if you will, that I have that aren't really messed up and don't have snapped off studs or cracks down the middle of them or what have you. So that's basically what I'm stuck with running until I can get a set of cast manifolds. But honestly, these work just fine, so I'll probably just keep them. Well, I neglected to film anything beyond when I put headers on it, just because I was simply trying to get everything wrapped up and get it running and driving before it got dark out. And, well, I missed that mark, but in any case, here's what it ended up looking like. It's ugly, it's loud, but it runs like an absolute top. Show you here. Don't mind the radiator hose, I gotta fix that, but it's got a little bit of valve overlap going on just because I adjusted the valves whenever the lifters were pretty much completely dry. So now they have some fluid in them, they're probably just overlapping the valves just enough to make a little bit of noise. But other than that, it is an absolute amazing runner. I gotta be completely honest, I was not expecting anywhere near as good of a runner from this engine. Mind you, this is the exact same engine that I pulled apart and had tons and tons and tons of carbon buildup everywhere in it. Had 7 bent push rods, and the oil was about as black as the color of that trash can over there. And just excluding the misfire from how I adjusted the valves, just listen to how it runs. I gotta say, it's absolutely phenomenal, and I couldn't have asked for better. So there you fucking go, bud.